Good morning. On behalf of Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science for Women, I welcome you all for the third day of the Digital Learning Series jointly organized by the Department of Computer Science and Department of Mathematics. I'm Dr. Rani, Associate Professor, Department of Computer, who is going to host today's program. Today's topic is Role of Artificial Intelligence in World Health Crisis by Dr. Manjula Sanjay, Professor and Head, Department of MCA, Sri Vishveshwarya Institution of Technology, Bangalore. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
A short profile of today's speaker. Dr. Manjula Sanjay completed her MPhil and PhD from Ardhya University, and she has organized various international conferences and chaired the sessions too. She is the Board of Study member of Vishveshwarya Technology University, received Excellence Teaching Award in Higher Education and Research Excellence Award also. She is a certified software test professional from International Institutions for Software Testing USA and certified for Mission 10X program from Wipro Technologies Bangalore and certified by Dale for higher impact presentation skill. She is an advisory board member for International Journal of Technology and Applied Engineering, and she is also a reviewer for International Journal of Data Mining and Emerging Technology. She is an editorial board member for International Journal of Engineering, Basic Science, Management, and Social Studies. Reviewer for an International Journal of Data Mining and Emerging Technology. She has published a book on database management system, and her publications includes Scopus, SCI Index, and Google Scholar. We are glad to have you for our today's session, ma'am. I
Thank you,
once
ma'am.
again welcome our speaker today. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for that brief introduction. First of all,
Welcome, ma'am.
let me thank the management of Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science for Women for giving me this opportunity to share some of my views on artificial intelligence, especially with respect to healthcare sector.
Ma'am, I request the participant to pin Dr. Manjula Sanjay to view the PPT. Ma'am, you can start presenting your
Yeah.
PPT, ma'am.
Is it visible now? I've
Yes,
shared
ma'am,
my
it's
PPT?
visible.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible, ma'am.
Yeah. So today I'll be
Yes, ma'am.
speaking on the role of artificial intelligence in world health crisis. Today, as we all are aware of the COVID-19, which has spread the entire world, and now we are thinking of the technology, why technology has not helped or prevented this particular pandemics which is happening. There are various reasons for this. Let me discuss one by one. So in today's session, I'll be discussing on briefly on the health crisis and the health crisis which happened during 1905 to 2020. And we will look into artificial intelligence in healthcare. So what's the role of artificial intelligence in healthcare? And what are the Indian companies who provide the innovative solutions for healthcare using AI? And also we will look into the health information technology and the benefits of health information technology and how AI has made an improvement in the healthcare sector. We will look into that. And also I'll briefly differentiate between, give the differences between the artificial intelligence and the traditional technologies which are used in the healthcare sector. And globally, which are the companies which are contributing for the healthcare? We will be looking into this. And then we will look into the current market scenario and also the future market scenario for AI, artificial intelligence, globally, and then in Indian scenario as well. And finally, I'll end my presentation by specifying which are the machine learning methods which can be used for outbreak prediction. So health crisis, what's this health crisis about? So it's a very complex health system. This complex health system affects humans in one or more geographical areas as well. It can range from a particular locality and it can spread to the entire world as it has happened today. So health crises generally have significant impact on the community health, loss of life, and also on the economy. So why all these things are happening? Now this may be result from the disease, industrial process, or formation of the poor policy as well. This slide brings about the health crisis which happened during 1905 to 2020. As we all know that in 1918 we had a Spanish flu, like which has spread the entire world and how the world faced the problem. And then it moved on to the various years like we had various health crises happened, and 2003 was also one more turning point where the world came across SARS, a severe acute respiratory syndrome. And then in 2009, of course, we had the pandemic H1N1. And then in 2014, we had the Ebola virus epidemic, which happened in the West Africa. And 2015, Zika virus outbreak. And currently what we have now is the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is all about the health crisis which happened during this period. So looking into the artificial intelligence in healthcare. So why artificial is a use of complex algorithms and software to emulate the human cognition in the analysis, interpretation, and comprehension of complicated medical and healthcare data. Now, when we speak about the artificial intelligence, the ability of the computer program algorithms to approximate the conclusions without direct human input. Now, in healthcare, so the three categories for applications of artificial intelligence in healthcare could be, one could be patient-oriented AI, the second could be clinician-oriented AI, the third could be administrative and operational-oriented AI. So with this, the primary aim of health-related AI applications, those applications will try to analyze the relationships between prevention of it or treatment techniques and the patient outcome. So this relationship will be established when we use AI applications. So AI is being used or tried for a range of healthcare and research purposes, and this will also include detection of the disease, management of chronic conditions, delivery of health services, and of course in the drug discovery and drug analysis as well. So AI has the potential to address some of the important health challenges, but it might be limited by the quality of the available health data. That's what that's a problem which we are facing today because of COVID, and by the inability of AI to display some of the human characteristics. So looking into the companies, artificial intelligence companies in India, these are the companies who are working towards the healthcare sector, and they're using, giving the best AI innovative solutions. For example, it could be Neramite, it could be Chiron, Cura.ai, or Credible. So these are some of the healthcare companies, startups who are majorly working towards the healthcare sector. And globally, we have the companies like IBM, we have IBM, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. So these are the companies who are working towards the healthcare sector by the usage of AI algorithms. So let's see one by one what is the contribution made by each of the firm towards the healthcare sector. So IBM came up with a project called Health Empowerment by Analytics, Learning and Semantics, which we normally call it as HEALS. And this software was used to explore the AI technology to enhance the healthcare. And Microsoft came up with the Hanover project in association with one of the university, and they tried to analyze the medical research, and they were able to predict the most effective cancer drug treatment option for the patients. And then Google came up with the DeepMind platform, which is being used by the UK National Health Services. And they were able to detect certain health risks through the data which was collected via the mobile applications. They used to collect the data from the mobile applications, and then they used to detect certain health risks. And they also came up with the other project which involved in the analysis of medical images which are collected from this National Health Service patients, and they developed, they used computer vision algorithms to detect the cancerous tissues. Intel came up with, Intel invested in one of the startup which uses AI to identify at-risk patients and develop the healthcare options. And other startups like Keron Medical, they developed the deep learning software, and this software was able to detect the breast cancers in mammograms. One more startup by name the Fractal Analytics. They has incubated Cura.ai, which is based in India. So this mainly focus on using deep learning and AI to improve the radiology and speed up the analysis of diagnostic X-rays. So there were digital consultant apps like Babylon Health GP at Hand, Ada Health, and Your MD. They also used AI to give medical consultation, which is based on personal medical history and the common medical knowledge, and used to report their symptoms into the application which we developed. And this application uses speech recognition to compare against the database of illness. So then Babylon was giving the recommendation action taken into account, which took into also to the account the user's medical history. It used to recommend some of the actions. So this was some of the contributions which were made by the various firms towards the healthcare sector. So now let's move on to the health information technology. So health information, when we speak about the health information technology, it is applied to health and the healthcare. So medical technology is a very broad field where innovation plays a very crucial role in sustaining the health. The various areas, like when we speak about it could be biotechnology, it could be pharmaceuticals, it could be our IT and the development of medical devices and equipment, and more. They all have the significant contributions to improving the health of people all around the globe. Health information technology, it supports health information management via the computerized systems. Now almost all the systems, all the hospitals are digitized, so they use the computerized systems, and the secure exchange of health information between various consumers or various stakeholders happens over there. Now coming to the importance of health information technology. Technology has changed the way what we communicate, we listen to music, exercise, shop, play games and much more. What all things we have now with respect to AI technology. That means directly or indirectly we have been using AI. So healthcare technology is helping people live longer, reduce their wait times, making it, and also at the same time it makes easier for the doctors to diagnose the disease. So health information technology, it improves the quality of healthcare delivery, it increases the patient safety as well, there will be reduction in the medical errors, and also the interaction between the patients and the healthcare providers could be strengthened. So when I say healthcare providers, I mean to say about the, with respect to doctors. Now let's see on the technology aspects which has made improvement in the healthcare. Of course, by using the technology, we are in an era of digitization of health records. Doctors have the embracing mobility over here, and this also has improved in testing and imaging. That is in the with respect to radiology and tele. And then using technology, we can predict the medical trends with online databases, and then we also come across less medical errors by incorporating this new healthcare technology. So benefits of using artificial intelligence in healthcare, as I mentioned already, it will reduce the healthcare cost by using AI. It will predict the epidemics. It will avoid the preventable deaths. It will improve the quality of life, reducing healthcare waste, and then improve the efficiency and the quality of the care of the patients. And also it helps in developing new drugs and treatments as well. These are some of the benefits. And of course, our Indian government this year has made a proposal on the budget for this 2020 as by announced by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The focus on artificial intelligence, machine learning and IoT and quantum computing. These are the technologies which will be used to boost up our digital economy. So one more report has suggested that AI, machine learning and blockchain, these are the technologies which will be used for healthcare innovation. So accordingly, coming to COVID-19, this is acting as a catalyst to innovation in healthcare, and various research have highlighted how AI, machine learning and blockchain are very much vital to facilitate the change, but still we have not succeeded it. But COVID-19 does not create any cookie cutter infections as well. So some people, they might have some mild cases, while others might be fighting for their lives as well. So clinicians are working very hard with those limited resources against a particular disease, which is very hard to predict. Knowing which patients are more likely to develop severe cases could help guide clinicians during this pandemic. Of course, we don't have the technology now, which we don't have an application which we have developed in order to guide the clinicians during this pandemic. In order to know about COVID-19, let's understand the difference between the artificial intelligence technology and the traditional technologies what we have. So artificial intelligence is able to gain some of the information. It will process the information and give a well-defined output to the end users by utilizing machine learning algorithms and the deep learning algorithms. So these machine learning algorithms and deep learning algorithms can recognize the patterns of data and behavior, and they'll be able to create their own logic. This might also reduce the error. So AI algorithms need to be tested repeatedly as well. So that means you will have to train these algorithms repeatedly. So AI algorithms, they behave differently from humans in two different ways. First thing is, when algorithms are literal, that means you are going to set a goal over there and the algorithm can't adjust itself and only understand what it has been told explicitly. So what are the instructions given by the user, accordingly it will be done, that's it. So it will not understand the other things. So deep learning algorithms, these are the black boxes wherein the algorithms can predict extremely precise but not the cause or the why it has to be done. So there's a main difference between the algorithms, AI algorithms, and the humans in two different ways. The advancements in medical technology has made the usage like there are a lot of improvements which are happening in the computing power. So when I say computing power, it is the faster data collection which is happening now through various means and data processing as well. So because of that, there is a growth of genomic sequencing databases as well. For that, we have the microarray technology, which will be used to analyze the genomic sequence of the databases. And then this will lead to the prediction of the disease as well, genetic diseases. So there's a widespread implementation of electronic health record systems as well. So most of the hospitals are digitized, as I told. So the paperwork, like the paper records, health records have been translated, converted into the digitized records, which we normally call it as EHR records, that is electronic health records. And there are a lot of improvements in natural language processing and computer vision. And this enables the machines to replicate the human perception process as well. And because of this AI technology, we have the precision of robot-assisted surgery. So the healthcare sector, the hospitals have started using with the robot-assisted surgery. And there are a lot of improvements in the deep learning techniques and data logs in the rare diseases as well. So the implications of AI will be the use of artificial intelligence is predicted to decrease the medical cost, as I already mentioned. And there will be more accuracy in the diagnosis as well. But now at this point of time, we are not able to derive the accuracy in diagnosing the COVID-19 disease. And better predictions in the treatment plan as well as more prevention of the disease could be made. So COVID-19 is acting as a catalyst to innovation in healthcare, and recent research have highlighted how AI, machine learning, and blockchain are vital to facilitate the change. And there is some of the researchers, two researchers from US, that's New York, they had designed an experimental AI tool which will predict which COVID-19 patients are going to get sick. So what they did was initially, when the coronavirus started in China at the early of January, they thought that it could make a way to New York, and they since that time they wanted to they started the idea of developing a tool which will help the clinicians deal with the incoming surges of the cases. So at that point, they thought that predictive analytics could be used, which is also a form of artificial intelligence. So this is one of the technologies that will best suit for this job, they thought, and then they started using this. So in order to design such particular tool, they need some data for this. So what they did was they contacted some of the researchers in China at the Wuhan labs, and then they took some data from the Wuhan laboratory. 53 COVID-19 cases data was collected, which happened in January and February. And then they developed some of the algorithms which was able to determine which mildly ill patients were likely becoming severely ill. So they found that they were able to predict which people were going to get the most sick during that particular time by using the algorithms, AI algorithms. By doing so, they also found that some unexpected early clinical signs that predict severe cases of COVID-19 also they came across. But all these things, what they did was by using the AI algorithms which they designed, And these algorithms were able to apply on a very small data set. So when I say small data set, the data which they took into account were only 53 COVID-19 cases. So with this small data set which they considered, they trained this particular data set on the algorithms which we designed, and during that time it was only just a proof of concept tool. So then later on, what happened was they developed a model with this. They trained the algorithm. They trained the model with this 53 cases, and then they were able to arise at the accuracy of 70 to 80% over there. Who are the people who are becoming sick over there? So that is the maximum percent of accuracy they were able to achieve by the model which they developed. So COVID-19 at this particular stage, it's a very new disease. So why we were not successful in implementing
Manjula ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
here? Hello,
Manjula ma'am, sometimes your voice is breaking, ma'am. Now it is
is
fine.
it?
Yeah, it's
Is it
fine now,
audible
ma'am.
now?
Yes, ma'am, it's audible.
Yeah,
Continue, ma'am.
yeah. Thank you. So why we were not able to succeed in this particular thing is, first and foremost thing is, COVID-19 is a very new disease, one that doctors haven't seen before. And the signs of an impending severe case are very hard to spot for this particular disease. So artificial intelligence, which can recognize many elusive patterns simultaneously, which will be this will be the perfect tool to help the doctors identify high risk patients early. This gives them time to better prepare for their cases as well, and also at the same time they could save the lives of the people. But unfortunately, since the data set is very small over here now, we were not able to use AI technology in designing the models over here. That is why a lot of disasters have been happening all over the world. So next, let's go into the depth of the current and future market scenario for AI. So globally, when we look into the global market for artificial intelligence, this should grow from $3.5 billion in 2018 and should reach to $26.1 billion by 2023. And this should increase at a compound annual growth rate of 49.1% for the period of 2018 to 2023. And we'll have to look out into the hardware AI segment as well. And this is anticipated to grow at the very highest rate from 2018 to 2023. And North America has dominated the global AI market even today, and this is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 45.9%. So all these things are happening because the natural learning processing segment is expected to witness the highest growth rate during the forecast period, that is from 2018 to 2023. This is a global market scenario which I have told you. So what about the market scenario for artificial intelligence in India? So in India, it is predicted that the applications of artificial intelligence with respect to healthcare space will be worth 431.97 billion rupees by 2021. That is why I mentioned that our Indian government in this budget 2020, they've announced major, sorry, they've announced that there will be major revenue which will be generated by using this technology, and and this will be expected expanding at a growth rate of 40%. Based on this particular growth rate of AI applications in healthcare, now the doctor-patient ratio is also one of the important factor which has to be considered in India. So normally the doctor-patient ratio in India was very less and is still less. And by adopting this AI, it is going to increase like the ratio of 6.92 per thousand population by 2023 from the ratio what it was earlier in 2017 with nearly 4.8 is to 1,000 members. So there are a lot of innovative and sustainable and scalable artificial intelligence technology, and this has the potential to greatly improve the healthcare outcomes in India as well. So AI applications are being developed and deployed in India. They include the algorithms and they analyze the applications that could be utilized will be chest x-rays and other radiology images. They can read the ECGs and also they can spot the abnormal patterns. Automatically they can scan the pathology slides. A lot of research is happening towards this pathology with due respect to artificial intelligence, and assess the fundus photographs for signs of retinopathy as well. So scaling up and distributing technology in India is a very challenging task, and definitely now it's the time to implement this technology within the Indian scenario for the healthcare towards the healthcare sector. Let's look into the market segments of AI. So the market segments could be divided into three categories. One is the offering segment, the other one is technology oriented, and the end user application oriented. When it comes to offering, we are speaking in terms of hardware, software, and the services as well. Like uh, a lot of demand is there for this, and a lot of investment has been made towards this hardware and software and services sector as well. And the technology which will be used for this will be deep learning. Querying method could be utilized, natural language processing, context aware processing also could be utilized. So these are technologies which will be used, and the end user applications will be, as I already mentioned, is robot assisted surgery. So robots are responsible for doing the surgeries. Already it is in place. Virtual nursing assistant, administrative workflow assistance, and then fraud detection, dosage error reduction, because sometimes what happens is the dosage gets prescribed by the doctor is different and the person who is giving there is different over there. Unknowingly, the person might give the higher dosage or the lower dosage, which will have a bad impact on the heavy impact on the patient as well. Then clinical trial participants identifier and the preliminary diagnosis. These are the end user applications with respect to artificial intelligence. Let's see how the state, what is the state of healthcare in India now? Of course, as I mentioned, we are having a shortage of qualified physicians. Healthcare facilities are not accessible uniformly. The Indian healthcare system is very reactive, and less than 2% of the hospitals in India are accredited. So this is one of the very important thing to be considered. Just imagine the number of hospitals what we have in India, and we say about the super specialty hospitals, all these things, and then we have only less than 2% of the hospitals which are accredited. That means I'm speaking about the quality aspects of the hospital. Then government health expenditure is also very low on this, and private expenditure currently stands at around 70%. So 62.4% out of pocket health expenditure is also happening. So you can just observe in the slide over here, this slide will tell you in the rural, the split of doctors and the population with respect to the BRICS countries have been mentioned over here. So you can just observe there in South Africa, China, Russia, and Brazil, and just compare with India what we have is. So the rural population, 33% what we have, the percentage of doctors to urban is 67% over there. But whereas in rural, the other thing is it is 66% to 34% what we have. That is as percentage of budget and as percentage of GDP, which we are going to consider over here. So it's very less distribution over here, split of doctors and the population. And next, when you look into this healthcare budget in the BRIC countries, and also here you can see again we Indians are falling behind over here as well. That means government is not spending towards the healthcare sector with respect to AI technology. Much of the investment was not made earlier, but definitely 2020 government, Indian government has made some investment towards the healthcare sector by adopting the technologies of AI, machine learning, and blockchain. So this slide will give you what sectors India has made investments. So here you can see that with respect to IoT, the investments made with 64%. With respect to AI, it is only 42%. So this is according to the Indian investment which has been made. But look into the global scenario. When you look into that, the healthcare executives rate AI as most disruptive technology industry, which is followed by AI, IoT. So their investments on AI is much more higher compared to the IoT over here. So what are the factors which contribute to this AI market growth? Significant use of big data in the healthcare sector. As I mentioned, when you want to use AI technology, then you should have bulk amount of data. So here comes the aspect of big data over here. Big data will foster the market growth, and there are other factors which contribute to the market growth as well. The other factors could be increase in need for coordination between healthcare workforce and the patients. So the various stakeholders of the healthcare, the coordination should exist over there. That means when we use the AI, this definitely will happen. And rise in adoption of precision medicine, as I mentioned, with regard to the drug dosage, and remarkable growth of venture capital investments also will happen. These are the factors which contribute to the market growth as well. And this one particular example which I'll be giving you with respect to medical imaging market. And this is a study made from 2019 to 2027. There's a prediction which has been made, and this is the image acquisition technology. And you can see over there, the major investment has been made by North America there. So North America, major investment has been made with respect to X-ray. It could be like first comes the X-ray and then the molecular imaging, computed tomography, magnetic resonance imaging, and ultrasound imaging. So development of advanced computer vision technology and deep learning methods models could be used to propel the AI market. This is AI in medical imaging market segmentation, how it has been done, which are the algorithms which should be used. AI technology, you can just observe that most of the times computer vision algorithm will be used, then followed by deep learning and other algorithms as well. Now, who are all the end users for this? For this particular medical imaging market. So end users could be hospitals, could be R&D centers, laboratories, and diagnostic centers. Now, how are you going to approach to the solution for this? Obtain the solution for this by using the software tools and platforms, and by using various services like integration and development of the applications. Now, the clinical applications which could be developed with respect to by taking into account the AI will be, as such I have mentioned, cardiovascular, neurology, respiratory system, mammography, oncology, pathology, liver, and the whole of the body. Like why I'm telling you all these things is SARS, when SARS happened, the disease spread all over the body, unlike like what we have now with COVID-19 is just going to spread only to the lungs, but SARS was a different case over there. So image acquisition technology, as I mentioned, these are the image acquisition technologies. And then the regions also I've mentioned like North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa, and South America. So these are the regions which are into this AI medical imaging things. So what are the limitations of AI? Of course, AI plays a very major role in the healthcare sector by giving a lot of things to the society. But there are limitations of AI as we have already observed now. So AI depends on the digital data. So inconsistencies in the availability and quality of data restrict the potential of AI. This is the case with COVID-19. And there's a significant computing power which is required for the analysis of large complex data sets. Of course, we have the computing power, but we are facing the problem of the data over here. So sufficient data is not available. And humans have attributes that AI systems might not be able to authentically process, such as compassion. And also, one other limitation could be the clinical perspective. From the clinical, already I have told that AI can be categorized with various applications in healthcare. So one is patient oriented, it could be clinical oriented, or it could be administrative and operational oriented. So when it comes to clinical practice, AI, this will involve complex judgments, abilities, judgments and ability to judge all those things. And then AI currently is unstable to replicate such contextual knowledge and ability to read social cues as well. There is also a big debate about whether some human knowledge is static and cannot be taught as well. So due to the high level of uncertainty what we have now and the lack of essential data what we have, so standard models have shown low accuracy for long-term prediction. Hence, this is a failure for the COVID-19. and still a lot of research are going on this. So this last slide will give us which are the ML methods which could be which are used for the outbreak prediction. So as I told, like various health crises is happening. So health crisis first is with respect to swine fever when it took. So researchers have done various experiments on this fever, and their outcomes was published in one of the journal, and they used a random forest which gave them the best accuracy for this particular outbreak infection. Then some of the researchers also worked on dengue fever, wherein they used a neural network approach. Influenza was one more health crisis which happened, and the researchers got very best results for the random forest. For the ensemblers, researchers got the very best result. And then other researchers made study on the dengue, and they were able to use Bayesian network and logic boost algorithm regression methods and probabilistic classifiers. They were able to do work it out, which they gave, in which they got the best results. With respect to H1N1 flu, researchers worked with neural network, and they were able to get the best results for this. And Oyster norovirus also came. This was also one of the health crises, wherein researchers used a genetic algorithm and got the best results for this. Now, how do you fight COVID-19 with machine learning? These are the things which we can do. And you as a researcher can write the proposals for this or could work on these things. So majorly we are not into, as a researcher, as a computer science graduates, will not be able to go into the in-depth of the clinical aspects of the things, but definitely understanding the clinical aspects, coordination with the doctors and the medical experts, we can always write an algorithm or build up a model for this. We will be able to, you can identify who is most at risk and diagnose the patients at a fast rate, develop the drugs faster, which is happening now, but still clinical trials are in process now. Drug analysis also, which is happening. Finding existing drugs that can help predict the spread of the disease, understand the virus in a better way, and you can also map where virus came from and predict the next pandemic, which is going to happen. So this is what with machine learning, we will be able to fight COVID-19, and a lot of research is happening. And nowadays, like compared to March month, like now, at least we have some data which is available at the Elsevier. We have some data with respect to Google. When you just Google it and see there in the Google database also, we have some of this COVID-19 data sets which are available, and research is in the process. So what's the future of AI? Healthcare-oriented overview of artificial intelligence, natural language processing, and machine learning could be used. And current and future applications in healthcare, and there will be a huge impact on patients, clinicians, and the pharmaceutical industry. AI systems will become more advanced and attain the ability to carry out a wide range of tasks without human control or input. And one thing which we have to look into is ethical part, ethical nature of the data. That means your AI system should be able to make ethical decisions. So AI tasks could be, when you use the AI applications, it can range from very simple to the complex task as well, right from answering the phone to the medical record review. And could you please mute the mic there? Population training.
Participants are requested to mute your mic. Yes, ma'am. You can proceed, ma'am.
Population health trending and analytics, therapeutic drug and drug design, reading radiology images, making clinical diagnosis, what are the treatment plans we can suggest, and even talking with patients as well. So these are the various benefits of AI which is going to happen in future. And of course, there are various challenges of AI in healthcare also. The challenges could be like with respect to patient privacy and ethics of data ownership. Who owns the data over here? What is the privacy that has to be maintained? And the second thing is the quality and usability of the data as well. So these are the challenges of AI when it comes to the healthcare sector. Thank you. I'm done with the presentation. If you have any queries, I will be able to answer you.
Thank you for your stimulating speech, ma'am.
Thank you.
You have clearly explained the current and future market scenario of AI in healthcare.
Yeah.
And I hope the participant will come out with some research proposal based on AI and machine learning.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your rich content and the contribution and the time, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Now
you.
the
Thank you.
session is open for the question. I request the participant to box.
You can
Yes,
just
sir.
mute your mic and post the questions in the chat box. Otherwise, it will be a disturbance, please.
Yes. I request the
I
participant to post the question in the chat box, which will be addressed. Kindly post your question in the chat box. I'm getting some positive impact on your speech, ma'am.
Yep. Pardon, ma'am.
We are getting a positive, you're getting a positive feedback in the chat box, like
Yeah,
very
yeah, it is
informative
there, but I
session.
want some questions wherein I can address the
Yeah,
participants.
yeah. Now the session is open for the questions. Kindly post your question in the chat box. At the same time, the feedback link is live in the chat box. Kindly find the link of the feedback. It will be live for another 20 minutes. You can post your feedback in the feedback form too. Any questions?
So researchers might find a lot of interesting things from this. You have got various problem definitions now. So you can start working on these aspects, these problems. You can make use of machine learning. You can make use of computer vision algorithms. Then you can start developing something.
Ma'am, there is a question from Shankar. You have covered NLP. Could you please brief a bit of NLP and AI on it?
Hello?
Ma'am, there
Hello?
is a question in the chat box. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Is
where?
it audible, ma'am?
Yeah. Tell me, ma'am.
Uh, you have covered NLP. Could you please brief a bit of
Yeah,
NLP
NLP.
and AI on it, ma'am?
Yeah, NLP also it comes under the umbrella of artificial intelligence. So you can use any of the algorithms. Like you can use natural language processing could be used for certain kind of applications. You can also make use of computer vision, or you can make use of machine learning algorithms. So based on the problem what you have taken, look into that and look into the nature of the data as well. You can have the image data or you can have the textual data. So when you have the image data, then you can go for the convolution neural networks over there. CNN you can use over there. Or else look into the other, looking into the nature of the data and the problem definition, you can use whichever technology is applicable for that. Of course,
Yes, ma'am.
NLP also comes under artificial intelligence itself. It's a subset of artificial intelligence.
Thank you for your answer, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Kindly post in the chat box.
Madam, good afternoon, ma'am.
Could you please post it, sir?
Yes,
Otherwise,
ma'am.
we'll have a disturbance.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ma'am, there is a question. Is network comes under AI?
Neural network. Neural network comes under AI. Yeah, this is one question from Tangaraj. Yes, sir. Neural
Yes,
network
sir.
also comes under AI itself. So when you have the image data, then you can go for convolution neural networks, which we will call it as deep learning. You can use a deep learning algorithms, CNN algorithms to address the questions there. Of course, it comes under AI.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. One more question is, what is the connection of
Zero.
video analytics and AI? Yeah, video connect, and again, madam, this is from Papurajan. Yeah, video analytics, when it comes to video analytics, again, what we can do is we can always use CNN for this. So we can use CNN convolution neural networks to address such kind of video analytics, and then again it comes under AI itself. Of course, we have not discussed on the convolution neural network algorithms over here because the broad way I have covered it. That's it. Yeah, which tool is best fit for deep learning algorithms? Yes, madam. There are a lot of open source tools which are available. So you can use any of the open source tools and then you can implement your deep learning algorithms. Any other questions to be addressed?
No, ma'am, you have addressed all the questions which are posted in the chat box.
Okay, thank
If
you,
you have
madam.
any question, kindly post on the chat box if you have any questions. And note there is a link provided in the chat box. Kindly fill your feedback.
Okay, then if you don't have any questions, I think
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can break it. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, for giving me an opportunity, and I thank all the participants for this, and I thank the management of the college for providing me such a good opportunity to share my knowledge. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for your contribution, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much, ma'am.
Welcome.
Okay, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. I request the participant to find the link, feedback link in the chat box. It will be live for the another 10 minutes. Kindly post your feedback to avail your e-certificate. And tomorrow we have a session on the beauty of ancient Indian mathematics by Dr. K. Indrani, State President, Siksha Sanskrit Uttan Nivas, Tamil Nadu. The session starts at 11 o'clock. The session link will be sent in your mail today. I'll repeat, tomorrow we have a session at 11 a.m. The topic, The Beauty of Ancient Indian Mathematics by Dr. K. Indrani, State President, Siksha, Sanskrit Uttan Niyas, Tamil Nadu. The link for tomorrow's sessions will be sent by your mail today. And the session starts at 11 a.m. The feedback link is provided in the chat box. Kindly post your feedback. Srividya? Srividya, are you there?
Ma'am, Lavanya here, ma'am.
Yeah, Lavanya, is the time over for the feedback? Shall we close it?
Just a minute, ma'am. Ma'am, 3 more minutes, ma'am.
Okay. Lavanya, shall we wind up?
Running, ma'am?
Yes, shall we wind up now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We shall wind up.
Okay. Thank you for all the participants. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Priyanka ma'am, kindly post your mail ID so that we'll send the link to your mail. Participants are requested to use your Gmail mail ID for posting your feedback. Thank you, Lavanya. Thank you, Srividya. We wind up.